Nicholas II was born Nikolay Aleksandrovich Romanov in Pushkin, Russia, on May 6, 1868. He was his parents' firstborn child. Nicholas II's father, Alexander Alexandrovich, was heir to the Russian Empire. Nicholas II's mother, Maria Fyodorovna, had been born in Denmark. Maria Fyodorovna provided a nurturing family environment during Nicholas II's upbringing. Alexander was a strong influence on Nicholas II, shaping his conservative, religious values and his belief in autocratic government. In 1881, when Nicholas II was 13 years old, his grandfather, Alexander II, was assassinated by a revolutionary bomber. Alexander Alexandrovich ascended the throne as Alexander III that year, and Nicholas II became heir apparent. When Nicholas II was 19 years old, he joined the army. He spent 3 years in service before touring Europe and Asia for an additional 10 months. Passionate about the military, Nicholas II rose to the rank of colonel. Although he was the Crown Prince of Russia, while in the military, he attended few political meetings except for those held by the State Council and the Committee of Ministers. Nicholas II inherited the Russian throne when his father died of kidney disease at the age of 49 on October 20, 1894. Reeling from the loss and poorly trained in affairs of state, Nicholas II hardly felt up to the task of assuming his father's role. In fact, he confessed to a close friend, "I am not prepared to be a Tsar. I never wanted to become one. I know nothing of the business of ruling." Despite all that was happening, Nicholas II managed to marry Princess Alex of Hesse-Darmstadt, commonly known as Alexandra, within a month of Alexander III's passing. Once he ascended the throne, Nicholas II had to marry and have children expediently, in order to secure a future heir to the throne. In the 1890s, as Russia experienced economic growth, it began to expand its industry into the Far East. In 1891, construction on the Trans-Siberian Railroad had begun, connecting Russia with the Pacific coast. As a result, Japan felt increasingly threatened. In 1904, Japan attacked Russia. In December of that year, Nicholas II's army was forced to surrender Port Arthur. By the spring of 1905, his fleet was decimated in the Battle of Tsushima. In the wake of Russia's defeat, Nicholas II entered peace negotiations with Japan that summer, but much greater concerns soon demanded his attention. On January 5, 1905, Father George Gapon led a sizable, but peaceful demonstration of workers in St. Petersburg. The demonstrators appealed to Nicholas II to improve working conditions and establish a popular assembly. Troops opened fire on the demonstrators, killing more than 1,000 people in what would come to be called the infamous Bloody Sunday. In reaction, indignant workers throughout Russia went on strike. As peasants all over Russia sympathized with the workers' cause, thousands of uprisings took place and were suppressed by Nicholas II's troops, serving to further increase tensions. At the beginning of World War I, Russia's armies performed poorly. In response, Nicholas II appointed himself commander-in-chief, so he could take direct control of the military from Grand Duke Nicholas, against the advice of his ministers. Nicholas II spent much of late 1915 through August 1917 away from Tsarskoye Selo in St. Petersburg. Over the course of World War I, Russia endured major losses, and was subject to extreme poverty and high inflation. The Russian public blamed Nicholas II for his poor military decisions, and Empress Alexandra for her ill-advised role in government. By February 1917, Nicholas II's subjects were in such an uproar that riots broke out in St. Petersburg. Nicholas was still headquartered at Mogilev at the time. When he tried to get home to Petrograd, the Duma, the elected legislature, which had by then turned on him, prevented him from boarding the train. After the Duma elected their own provisional committee built of progressive bloc members, and the soldiers sent to quash the St. Petersburg riots mutinied, Nicholas II had no other choice but to step down from the monarchy. On March 15, 1917, he abdicated the throne. He and his family were then taken to the Ural Mountains and placed under house arrest. In the fall of 1917, Russia's provisional government was overthrown by the Bolsheviks. In the spring of 1918, Russia was engaged in a civil war. On the night of July 16 to 17, 1918, Nicholas II and his family were murdered by Bolsheviks under Vladimir Lenin in Yekaterinburg, Russia, thus ending more than 3 centuries of the Romanov dynasty's rule.